Hey guys, I'm Kevin Secours, and I had some requests about sacrifice throws, specifically using leg grapevines and leg pistols. So I threw them together into a small set. This is a fantastic way to explore biomechanics, face some fears of falling. I hope you enjoy the work. Tonight, we're going to do a lot of work that is involving the pistol motion and leg entanglement. So we want to warm up with some Cossack lunges. So this is what we do. We're going to try to get this support heel all the way down, and we want to have our other leg up. If you're not 100% flexible and you're having difficulty getting that heel down, use the hands where you need to. You want to march or walk along in an animal-like way, keep your back nice and straight. And from that position, you want to be very cautious about overarching the lower back. So I'm going to take my tailbone, I'm going to engage that a little bit, keep my ribs in nice and braced, so my core is nice and solid. And I can roam around a little bit so I get a nice load-bearing stretch. If you're able to get that heel down, but you need to have a counterbalance or a support, and you do it. If you have the hands up, you do it. That needs to be open, you do it. And now this is the trick. As we switch, we want to have a shared responsibility before the pull, between the pull of the long leg and the push. So if I just look at the first few centimeters, I can push with that bottom leg, the compressed leg, and sometimes you'll feel quite a bit of pressure in the knee. And if I only pull from the long leg, I'll feel quite a bit of pull in the hamstring. So I need to feel both sharing it, and at the same time, my center of mass, always staying nice and braced, wants to change to the other side. That's what I want to feel. And then when I get there again, I want to do a nice preparatory stretch, explore it, keep it comfortable. Nice. So then we're going to take our own time, but from this now, the goal is to keep your head and shoulders as low as it can, as if you're under a really shallow ceiling. And I want to think, especially sometimes people only focus on the head, but it's more than the head. I can keep my head down, but in keeping the head down, I allow my hips to come up. And it's actually the hips that are much more important. So imagine there's a ledge, and you want to keep that belt as underneath that ledge as possible. And that's the real trick. You get a dynamic, load-bearing stretch right through the fullness of life. Explore it, stir around, feel it. Again, it's just preparation for the leg. As I do it now, watch what we do. We're going to sit all the way down into a full pistol, akin to a hurdler stretch. Exactly. And then as I get up, same deal. I'm going to bring that leg, pull it. When I do the pistol in a combative application, what's key is that that leg is fully elongated. If I have any residual contraction or doubt or fear in that leg, it's going to keep it bent, and that's where the injuries are going to happen. So I really want to feel myself crawling and sitting up completely, releasing myself from that stretch. I can do a few lunges, a little bit more circular, warm up the legs, and then at any point just bottom out and sit fully. And especially when you sit, you try to lower yourself so that you're very slowly and controllably falling. You want to feel that last little bit that I sit away. The mistake people make in the throw is that they try to sit close, and then the leg ends up being bent, and that's where the injury happens. So I want to sit away. I'm really falling back, jutting back with my back. Whoa, I'm feeling good. At the same time, we're going to go face to face. And all we're going to do now in that position, we're going to extend. Doesn't have to be the same leg, it can be the opposite. We can extend, we can climb, we can have two arms on one, switch hands. But I want to explore pulling and almost leaning, dragging off each other. So I get a nice back stretch. It'll allow us to get into positions because all the throws are dependent on someone else being there. We're going to be getting some level of support from them, and we're going to be taking it away from them as well. Grab your human. Let's start. So, one person is going to stay stable, tailbone's in, ribs are in, legs are elastic. They will squat rather than bend. And what I will do is I will use them for support. The support leg, the bending leg, I will take a step with. So if I'm going to bend on my left, I will step forward on a V with my left. If I'm going to bend on my right, I will step forward in a V on my right. And what I want to do is I want to see that I can lift up on the bending leg toe. So I'm going to be on ball of foot, and the other leg I'm going to rotate on the heel. So if I've never done it, I practice that a few times. I take a step away, transfer weight onto the ball of the foot, and then pivot. And I want to feel that pivot, and then I fall away. Leg fully straight. And I come back. Coming back is less important to the exercise. I step away on a V, transfer the weight on the ball of the foot, pivot on the opposite heel, and I extend away. If I pivot, some people will do this, and when they step, they pivot on both balls of feet. And then what happens is the elongated leg stays somewhat bent. So it's super important that I do it almost like a foot block, and I want to sit away comfortably. So it has to be on the heel. Otherwise you won't have full elongation. So one person will step to the right, elongate on the left, step to the left, elongate on the right, swoops, the other person does both sides. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay guys, we're going to begin with probably the most basic pistol throw. There are many ways that we can throw somebody using the pistol motion as a sacrifice, and we will be looking at a few of them tonight, but we'll start with the simplest. The reason I like this one is that the first thing we're doing is we're overwrapping and hugging the far arm, and that's going to help control and mitigate the risk of them putting their hand down and hurting themselves, which is a very common injury. Second thing I can do is I'm going to underhook on the other side, so that gives me good control of their carriage and their hips, and it normally also helps me to guide them away from their head and their forward reaching hand, which are the two primary areas where they get hurt. Aside from that, the other area where people get hurt is their elongated leg, if it's not properly elongated. So this is what I do. When I'm in this position, the underhooking side will lift, and it is to that side, into that hole, that I will take that little small V step forward. So I will create an opening. I'm going to exaggerate it for the camera, but a little flare. I just don't want him to be able to have his elbow forward tucked under his nipple, because when it's tucked against his body like that, I don't have a good ability to step deeply or to affect his carriage. So I want to just invert that hand like I'm dumping out a glass, or cross reach to the far scapula or even up to the shoulder. That's going to give me a nice supported lift. I step under that hole, into that void. I now prepare myself here. If I've never done it, what I really want to understand is that I don't need to bring my elongated foot to him. I'm going to step into the void, pivot, ball of foot, and heel, and I will now pull him into a stumbling step that will have to stop there. And when I fall, because he's going to come to here, he will fall over me and land clear of my leg. If my leg is bent, there's now a risk that I will be in his way, he will land on me. So from that position, I flare it, I step, I pivot, he will fall, and then I will normally go into a side control from that position, keeping the hook, or go up on top. So, can't do it slower than the speed of falling. If you try to, that's where you hurt yourself as well. I thread an underhook, I flare it, I step under, and normally I go to the pivot right away. It becomes quite instantaneous. One motion. So the goal is tonight, if we can, we step it piece by piece, increment by increment, do the reps where I feel safe until I feel confident. But once I have it, I would like to do it not necessarily quickly, but continuously. And that's where I want to be. Change every time, take your time, enjoy it. If we get this, lots of good places we can go. A lot of ways we can get into it. A lot. So we're just going to look at a basic foot pick. So if I go to pick the foot, a few things I want to do. I want to make sure I'm not bending at the waist. I want to change levels with the hips. Ideally, I'm occupying him, so I'm doing something at the same time. Finger whip, punch, jab, whatever, bringing my body lower, distracting him with that as I go. I like to address the hands. If I see hands are there, I'll slip the outside hand. I may also, at the same time, monitor that inside hand for a second. That's going to help me push him, or I'll push with my shoulder. But I need to do something to make that lead leg non-load bearing, so it's lighter and it's easier to pick up. That's all I want to see. Now, you could stay there, but for tonight's drill, at the beginning I want to get in, push away and go to full extension so he struggles to reach me from here. That's what I want. So I have a basic pullback. A lot of throws from here. Most simple from here is just to lift. Just like that. Nothing required. Get the step on your hand at the same time. Yeah? So, again, I'm going to slip, make it light. Right away, don't stay here. That's where he's going to be able to hit, pull back out of range, and then when I'm ready, I'm just going to lift. That's it. We're going to add a pistol to the equation shortly. Let's go. Try that. All right, guys. Let's get it. Was that okay? Moderate? Where was that on the scare indicator? A 4, a 6? Or, I don't know. All right. So, a very common tactic when somebody goes in to try to take your leg and they get the pick is that people will fork it between you and try to get a grapevine like this. It's very, very common. So, you want to both of you are responsible for mitigating the crotch control, the crotch impact. So when I come in, I'm going to do all the same things, make it light. I want to pull it up to my thigh always. So that even if Darren was trying to bring it into my crotch, I'm guiding it into my thigh. That's number one. Number two, temporary control. Normally I go to a pinch. Pinch is a good way to temporary control. And there's lots of ways you can drive down here or just, drop somebody and pick the other foot. You like that? Yeah, that's good, eh? But sometimes a person is quite resistant. They might have better control of the head or the arm. They might be holding quite tightly. So in these positions, sometimes you're afraid of going directly down because you're going to get your head smashed in. So watch what we're going to do. I have two choices. I can take him down to his face, take him down to his back. Taking him to his back is the least aggressive of these. I can only have a cuff here or a hook on the leg. My V-step will be forward. This will stay outside his leg, and I will throw right from that position into my pistol. It's a good way to just fully liberate yourself from that position. So again, I'm in there, I slip, I go in, I get it, he tries to hook it. He's got a good tight control. He might grapevine it over here, anything he wants to do. I pinch if I need control, I can pull him back. That's it. I don't want to let him pull me here, because that's where he's going to drive my head. And if he's good, he's going to guard my leg. No, guard it, lock it up. And now he has traction on my neck. And he can pull, and it gives you a good fast tap if you know how to choke. So, I want to make sure that as soon as I'm up and I see this and he's in there, right away step forward, pistol, nice and close. That's what's going to stop him, and just release him, let him go. You want to chase him with a body lock or with a pin or any sort of ground control, it's your choice. From here, once I take him down, I have good control of his legs, and I can keep them and go into either mounts, rear ankle picks, rides, whatever I want to do. Simple, simple. Let's go. Nice and easy. A little bit more time. Okay. Maybe not tonight. But if we do the same set, he goes to scoop my leg, he's trying to do whatever. Maybe he has my leg on the outside, whatever. My first protection is always to get it inside. I want to use that grapevine, right? And from that position, very often I will try to plunge that head, and I like to have arm control, so I'm usually going to go for a whizzer and get this. Maybe not tonight, though. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go into it as an offensive movement, where I set up the delivery, and then later it can be applied right as a counterattack to the counter he was just doing. Doesn't have to be tonight, though. So this is what I want to see. I want to have a nice overwrap. Doesn't matter if this arm is here, if it's in front, whatever. Even from here, I can apply good shoulder pressure and still get the equivalent of a whizzer. That's all I need. And ideally, when he's trying to escape the whizzer, he's trying to dead arm through the middle. So what I'm doing in this position is, before I fully have a wrapped, I'm gonna grapevine here. So this is gonna close that up a little bit. So even if he starts getting down, it's delaying him. He's trying to get through, and we're not going to be here for very long. That's an intro. So watch what we do. I want you to get in this position. Super soft. I be a nape, whatever the case is. I can, if this is in my way, I can either swim through, I can pull it, make space, and then swim through. I could disregard it, like I don't even care it's there, pass it and get it, whatever you want. But you want to get into this position. He could be going for my back. He gets a hip grip, and I'm countering here. But I want to be confident, and I want to see that I can hang out here for the first step, even if it's crystal clear in your brain. Just for both of us, because it's shared knee responsibility, we're going to put the foot down. Just for giggles, yeah? It's not going to be down after, but for now it is. So see that you can hang out here, and you have good control. The other arm, when I put the foot down, just for tonight, is going to either go here or here, on the outside of his far side contour. And I'm going to step across, and I'm going to fundamentally do the same pistol from here. Yeah? So watch. Jordy Capori, just Darren gets a view. So I'm going to have an overwrap going into a whizzer. I hook that in. That's what I'm doing. So just so the camera sees it. So if I'm already in this position, I'm not relinquishing this control. I will just take a little hop, and then I'm basically putting that down and pivoting into my pistol. Now, as we do that motion, we're not going to do the grapevine yet, but where we're going, just so you understand, is the same motion when I put it down. The same motion that's required to turn and twist out is the same action I'm going to keep when I'm grapevining. So that when I'm in this position and I hop, I will fall and only now release as I go over. is there'll be a point when he's falling where your toes will naturally come out. Does that make sense? Darren, let me bore you one more time. So again, just to be clear, for phase one, we will wrap it, and we'll have the other side, so I can be anywhere I am. I'm here. I get inside, hop with the only leg you got left, put it down for now, and pistol that long inside leg. Whoosh. That's all I want to see. And think in your head, shortly, that foot will not release. It will be grapevine the whole way. Slowly, slowly get used to being on the diving board, and then woof, we do it. Make sense? Yeah. Nice pose. Try it out. So yeah, I got the far side control, whatever it's doing. So the first thing you can do is see what can you do. Even if that's, because you're not in a great position without hip control. Hip control, I can come under and get nice, right? With a wizard, you can't get the same thing. So it looks like you kind of don't have great control. I fake it nice sitting. So he's expecting. He's expecting that I go, come down with you right away. Right? And if you stay stable, you're like this, you're staying stable. Right. Then I hook. Then bang one last variation. You can choose to use it, stay on the ones you want, or don't like it. It's up to you. So, from that same position with a wizard, oftentimes the wizard erodes if I'm not fast enough to block it or get enough force, or if he's not holding on, and the arm starts to come down. I start to feel like I don't have much, and it's hard. You can still do stuff here. I can hold like that and go far side. But if I feel I'm losing, from this position, what I want you to see is that I can keep density with my shoulder, and I can propel her out around his neck very easily. So from the back, I want it to have some kind of work like this. As soon as I feel it coming out, I get it tight on the neck. That's the first thing. Second thing is, when I get that grapevine, I'm able to sit. And so you see me here, I can put a lot of weight on. So what I'm going to do now to help my weight stay up is I'm going to switch. So I like to go here when I'm teaching it at first, and I see I can linger. Third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tightly scissor the leg. So if we ignore the grapevine's extra help, but my leg is in front. So my other leg needs to go behind in order to get a scissor. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to basically have that posture. Apart from this, don't apologize. So I have this, boosh, here. Hand is replacing foot, and I'm already nice and stable. I can squeeze this as tight as I want. I can keep the grapevine. I can relinquish. And now all I'm doing, just from chin control, I can roll and take it after, hit the knee bar, or as I get more comfortable, I don't reach for the planet, I reach for the leg. So I was here, one, and then right away, whoosh, I take it. And then I have good control. That goes to do anything, try to kick me with that, I pull away, or I can trap it here. Yeah. So by the pieces, by the numbers. Number one, just feel from a failing whizzer. That starts to propel her through. I can go deep into the head via a point of rotation here. Whoosh. Ideally, at the same time, I'm charging his baseline, and I'm sitting on it. It's good. It's nice and stable. At the beginning, you may find it better on the lat. It's just it gives you a more polite handle. Later, you'll hold on to the face with the same tightness. When that foot comes away, that's my first step. Hand wants to go down. So when I'm here, just give me more space. Whoosh, and take it after. Here. But as it gets more comfortable, you try to avoid the ground entirely. So you're here, one, and as soon as that leg goes back, you're going to have him wherever you want to go. Bam. Walk it. Yeah?
One more time, please.
Sure. Here, let me steal it. So, 1, 2. But do it by the numbers for your brain.
Yes, good.